a short encouragement from my household to yours. Last time I started looking at the 12 Psalms written by Asaph. And again, we're not sure if this is one person or how exactly that worked. But if we go on the assumption that it is, then as a songwriter, you start seeing some of the themes that Asaph liked to use. And one of those is history. Asaph is a songwriter that keeps bringing back these stories from history, especially from Israel's history. So he talks about some of the patriarchs, like Jacob and Joseph, but then goes through a lot of the story having to do with Moses and Aaron and when the people were in Egypt, and then his people got to leave Egypt and God's salvation that was shown to them, and the travel that they do along the way. But then there's also these other random people brought in, Zeb and Zalmunna, who they don't normally get told in the histories, or they're not big players in it. Eventually, he goes through the time of Judges and works up to King David. So, in various of these Psalms, and many of the Psalms that Asaph wrote, history is in there, and history plays this role kind of back and forth in different ways. That Asaph is honest about the good parts about their history, but honest about the bad parts about their history. And even in the more sort of recent time, as Asaph is writing about what's going on, he sees good stuff going on and he sees bad stuff going on. And so my encouragement to you looking at all of that is to consider in your life, as you look through your history, what's the good and bad stuff that you see, and can you see God's faithfulness in that process? Here's one of the things that Asaph wrote in Psalm 78, which is the biggest focus on history throughout the whole psalm. But at the very beginning, Asaph writes, "I'll teach you hidden lessons from our past, stories we've heard and known, stories our ancestors handed down to us. We'll not hide these truths from our children. We'll tell the next generation about the glorious deeds of the Lord." And what I'd like to encourage you with is that, number one, coronavirus will not be the end of this world. And so there's going to be stories, there's going to be generation after us, generations that come. And it's still our job to be able to tell those stories of what God has done, the difficult times as well as the good times. So hopefully today you see God's goodness and your faithfulness in your history, and also that you trust Him with the history that's still to be written.